So welcome to Challenge the Road, used car update. Let's have a little chat about the market, because I was on the podcast Behind the Glass chatting with Sam, and he said to me a few bits about whether petrol's going to be there after 2030, what's going to happen, the value of cars. And he come round recently to drive the 22B.
Well, look, I'm super intrigued and I'm super excited. My audience will correct me, but I'm almost certain I've never driven an Impreza. I had my first Skyline experience a couple of years ago, driven a couple of Evos. I don't think I've ever driven an Impreza, and what an Impreza to drive. So I'm going to get some tips from you on what I should be expecting or how to get the best out of this. And then, unbelievably, thanks to this absolute legend, yes, I'm going to be getting behind the wheel of this outrageously special car.
And after that podcast, I sort of went away thinking, what is happening out there? So obviously we've had the COVID situation, which has led to chips being difficult to get for manufacturers because they're being used a lot more in phones. The car manufacturers were maybe slow to react to demand, so they've then got left a little bit behind. So the new cars coming through is obviously very slow. So I thought, well, obviously if that demand for chips and chips become readily available, then obviously that would then push down the cars that people are maybe paying list for that are 2 or 3 years old. The only problem is that how long is that going to take? So I think the used car market at the moment still got a little bit to run with the higher prices, just because if it's what are we sort of mid 21, is it going to take them to mid 22? Also, I think a lot of people don't know what car to buy. I'm in the same bracket. I don't know, for day to day, do I want a full electric? I'm not sure I would. At the moment, I don't think the infrastructure's there, but obviously we want to try and be as green as possible with our day-to-day driving. So it's a real difficult marketplace. I've really enjoyed this Range Rover hybrid because I don't have to charge it, and I've got electric under 45 mile an hour, and then I've got diesel. I mean, I recently went up to round Chipping Norton, drove round, and I've got 600 miles on a tank, and if I want to fill up, I can fill up readily wherever I want. So I think that first thing is the chip situation with the new manufacturers, but also understanding what you want to buy and what cars are out there that you can. So my second sort of point is obviously supply and demand. Obviously if you haven't got the supply, then the demand is high, then obviously it pushes up the prices. So we are seeing a lot of them cars that were 2 years old now selling at list price, and a lot of the older cars have gone up hugely. The other thing is that is electric the future? So we're saying it is, but I heard recently that we run out of power in a county due to everyone having electric cars and more going. So what's going to happen if we all have electric cars? We haven't got enough power, so that's not realistic. And then I've done a podcast with Frank Stephenson, and he spoke about synthetic fuels, hydrogen, and I think that could be the way. I think that could be the way a lot more than electric. So maybe I need to just sort of hold back a little bit, enjoy the hybrid era, and then see what happens. But I think it's got a lot to run, and if you're putting all your eggs in electric, you might get it wrong, and then you've got a real problem, because if that does happen, why do you want to be in cars that you have to charge all the time? I don't. I think it's a good idea to have a hybrid. I mean, if you look at the X5 in this, I think 50-60 miles is fantastic on a plug-in, and you can just drive it. Or the new McLaren Artura, if you can get, I don't know, 30-35 miles out of electric, you could use that, and then you've got the backup of that performance whenever you want. So that's sort of point 2, is the electric way the way, and I think that's sort of stopping people a little bit from making the change. And you've only got 1 million hybrid and electric cars on the road at the moment, so it's not a very big part of the market, but obviously it is going to grow. So point 3 on new cars, and I've done a bit of research on this, and I was looking at 2022 speed limiters in cars, all new cars, Even though in the UK we're out of the EU now, the EU have put in that all new cars will have a speed limiter 2022. Now I think that's going to affect things a bit in the supercar market. Now how it's going to work is basically when you get in the car, it will automatically change to the speed limiter of 112 as a maximum. It can be manually taken off, but you have to do it every time, and it is linked to the engine management system. Now, as soon as you get to 112, what will happen is the car will give you a warning to slow down, and several warnings, and then if you don't do anything, the car will take over from the engine and cut the power down, so you will stop accelerating. And obviously that's a great, incentive to get the road collisions and that down, but I just feel for people maybe going into that market of these hypercars, sports cars, very quick cars, Porsches, Lamborghinis, I just feel they might feel that they're being tracked all the time, because once it's involved in the engine management system, obviously you can never really get rid of stuff. So even if you turn it off, you are pretty much being tracked all the time. Now some of the cars have already got these systems already in. I think Volvo, Ford have been doing this for a little while, but I think that might just put people off. So if you're ordering an STO Lamborghini, whatever, I'm assuming if you take it after 2022, you will have that speed limiter in your Lamborghini and potentially tracking in the engine management system. And also if the manufacturers have to put it in the engine management system, I think it could be quite difficult to get that out of the engine management system if you wanted to. So we're getting more and more tracked as people with our phones, with our vehicles. So I feel like with the used cars coming back to that, they might have more of a run, because people don't want to have speed limiters, not because of it's irresponsible to go fast. I think it's just more people don't like to be tracked. So I think the used car may have a little bit more to run due to that, and people maybe don't know that's there. So that's given me sort of a bit more excitement to maybe buy some more used cars, which I have been doing, and there's more coming soon on that. So with the speed limiters, what I see is that speed has become sort of pretty irrelevant now in cars from a performance point of view, because now you're down to, I see the SF90 set a 0 to 100 time of 4.4 seconds. That's unbelievable. That's ridiculous. That's like, someone can buy that car and literally they're buying a missile. So I don't know if there's any laws going to come in, but that's just 4.4. That's an amazing 0 to 60 time. That's now a 0 to 100. So the performance has just gone with cars for me. I'm just not really interested. I don't really look at the numbers anymore. And that's why, the videos I've got coming up are more around Escort Cosworth or the ASM DBR1 Tribute. Looks amazing. I don't have to go mega fast. I'm enjoying my driving. And for me, that's what I always enjoyed. And that's why these used cars in this area, stuff like Escort Cosworth, we said about the Subaru 22Bs going, they will do, because you can just go for a drive and enjoy it. They don't actually cost very much to run. I mean, if you look at, a McLaren now, and you went, say, 12C, it's still 5,000 a year to run. With my rally cars, and it's like £300 service just for oil. And then with like an Escort Cosworth or my Ford Focus Mark 1, I don't have to service it every year. If I want, I might do it every 2 years or every 3 years. I'm not doing lots of miles. So my cost of ownership's really low. So if it's really low, then the price of that car is going to go up, because people don't want huge running costs. So yeah, it's a really interesting time, guys. And we've been buying quite a few sort of cars that I really enjoy from my era, from 90s, 2000 rallying, the road cars of that time. We've got some exceptional ones coming on. I'm excited about it. And still some of these values, if you look at a new M3 at 90,000 and a Focus Mark 1 at 18 to 25, 30, I think I'd probably still take the Focus, because I'm just having more fun more of the time. And also these tribute cars, if you can get into things like that, that's why I made the CTR Vantage. I want people to enjoy cars and enjoy driving, but it not be £500,000, £1 million. You know, we can do these cars for probably 50 to 60,000 pounds. It's not big money, but you've got a lovely appreciating classic that you can use all the time. So yeah, that's a used car update. Obviously things are changing all the time, but that's how I feel at the moment, and that's how I feel the market's going to go. But yeah, I hope you enjoy these little updates, and we'll be bringing you more videos soon.